Usually do. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Season 2, Part 2, kind of, the debut. That's more rhyming than I intended to start with. This is A Million Little Podcast.
Do not commit us to rhyming everything. Gosh darn it.
No, we're not. I mean, you can't even commit us to getting the episode recorded right on the first try. This is taking...
We're wild cards. We're doing it live.
Doing it friggin' live. I'm Kevin, and that's...
Jamie.
And Dave is also on Earth somewhere right now, but he was unable to join us tonight, and he was unable to join us when we did our first recording of this. There was a technical breakdown. We have to just get a new computer.
Technology blows, you guys.
It really does. You guys probably know
I wish we could just write you all a nice letter about a million little things.
Yeah, so apologies for the delay. The next one will be up a lot quicker, and we'll be back to normal soon. But Dave he sent us along some thoughts, so we'll play Dave's thoughts
They're
later.
good thoughts.
They're very good thoughts. Dave always has good thoughts.
Stay tuned. You're going to like them.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee it.
This is episode 10 of season 2, and this is sort of it's the beginning of the second half. We've been off for a couple of months.
It feels like a whole new season.
It might. It really. I mean, what are seasons?
What? Hey, let's get philosophical.
Yeah.
If it was a British show, we'd be in season 8 by now.
God, yeah, it'd be series 12 or whatever. Yeah. So, Jamie, where do you want to start? I think I have a pretty good idea. Because I know you, and also we've done this before.
I'm hopelessly devoted to Danny.
Danny is back. As you know, we are...
Danny is the word.
Big. Danny is the word, and this is a Danny Stan podcast.
Shwap. Yeah, it's a Danny/Grease fan cast.
Yeah. So that's how it's evolved. You never know how these things are going to go. But Jamie is, I would say, to my knowledge, about the A Million Little things.
Million Little Verse.
Yeah, Million Little Verse. I believe you are the number one Danny Stan.
Danny Stan.
Now, how deep into the Million Little Things Twitterverse?
Are people from Danny Stan allowed in the country now? I haven't been able to keep track.
No, there's been some passport troubles with Danny Stan. I think it's very unfortunate. Uh-oh. Hopefully we'll get we'll be on to
trying to get my Danny Stan green card.
Yeah.
Just let me work here.
Yes. This episode's called The Kiss, and it is about several kinds of kisses, but Danny's kissing.
Spoiler, there's actually 3 kisses at least. Maybe there's more, but there's 3.
How is this not rated NC-17?
I know, they're going real dirty in this season, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
We got 2 straight kisses and 1 big gay one.
Yeah.
Yay.
Heck yeah.
Which they copped out on a little bit.
But it comes because...
But it's still good.
Danny's in Greece, and that is sort of the event that unifies everybody, that gets all our players into the same spot
he was,
at the end of the episode.
The last half of this season was all leading up to this, where Danny's finally in Greece, and we get to see parts of the show.
And he's finally in A Million Little Things, because he missed episodes too, because he's very busy, and also,
right.
Just write him into
Yes,
stuff.
We assume he's been just practicing in his room that whole time, and that's why we haven't seen him, and not because everybody's a jerk and doesn't understand Danny's worth on the show. But I digress. This one was all Danny all the time, and I was very excited about it. So we're getting back on track. I'm liking this half of season 2 much better just because of that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got Danny, and he's upset about his Elliot.
Yeah.
God. I forgot his name between the last time we recorded this.
It's been a day and a half. Yeah.
It's been a day and a half, man. I wipe this from my memory as soon as we're done. He's upset because he knows he's come to realize he knows Elliot likes him, and he likes Elliot, and Elliot just won't admit it, and it's upsetting. And he's about to have his first kiss on stage with a girl who he does not have a crush on, and he thinks that it's important for a first kiss to mean something.
Jamie did pull up her phone and look at it and say, mean something. Yep, that's what...
I wanted to get it right. I don't want to paraphrase Danny.
Yeah, that is what you're a biblical literalist when it comes to Danny. Has to be word for word.
I am. I'm Orthodox Danny Stan.
Orthodox Danny Stan has been through the troubles. Yeah, but he says the first kiss is supposed to mean something, and he didn't want it to be with someone. He didn't want it to be a straight up stage first kiss,
right? Which is crazy. Which we said the first time we did this it's weird. He said they're not kissing in rehearsals because Danny kisses Sandy at the end of Grease. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's crazy that they didn't try it in dress rehearsal. They should have done that kiss just to make sure to make sure these kids know where a kiss goes.
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen?
And that they're both comfortable with it, whatever. But for drama's
What if she
sake,
tried to kiss his butt or something? Or his
just
elbow?
missed. I thought this is how it works. My parents are weird.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
No one taught us how to kiss before.
It's hard figuring out how to kiss, too, for some people. I don't know.
It really is. And also, while I don't disagree with Danny, sometimes a first kiss should just get it over with.
Was that your first kiss?
So that your next kiss can be better. Sort of. I mean, it was exciting because it was the first time that happened. Mm-hmm. And then otherwise, it's like, it's all right. I did for a little while think that, like, maybe I don't like kissing. I was always very excited for it to happen. And then while it was happening, I was like, And I'm not saying it was the guy's fault. It was probably also my fault because I didn't know what I was doing. Mm. But then later, when I kissed someone who knew what they were doing, he's on this podcast right now. I'm like, oh, this is great. Kissing's actually great.
Yeah, kissing's a good time.
Kissing's fun if you're with someone that you're a compatible kisser with. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm glad that I had a bad kiss experience, so I know the difference at least. It's
something, yeah. You want to knock it out to be. I am one who kisses. I am a person who knows how to kiss, and Danny, he's kind of sweating that. He wants it to be with someone he's genuinely into, and then he tells Elliot about that. He backstage.
Does it. He makes the move. It's during the play. He's waiting for his time to go on. Sandy is singing "Hopelessly Devoted to You" too well.
Yes.
This girl is too talented, and it took me out of the whole thing because I'm like, what is this, middle school? No. Yes. This girl would have quit middle school to be on Broadway if she sang that good. So it's like, no, stop. And then he tells Elliot how he feels and, says that he doesn't want his first kiss to be with this girl. Gross. And then Elliot up and kisses Danny, which is great.
Yeah.
Danny makes a move and then Elliot makes a move, so it's a mutual move.
And you had a mini beef with it.
I did.
We'll do that quick.
I was excited and then immediately yelled, "You cowards!" because as they're kissing, a light from the stage, like, basically super duper backlights them, so you kind of don't really see it. You sort of see like head shadows a little bit, and it's very bright, and then they're apart, and it's like, oh, come on, you guys, and it's like I can't. Maybe it's an artistic thing. Yeah. Or maybe it's them, like, kind of punking out on a gay kid kiss on the show.
Hard to tell. I could see it a number of ways. Could also see if it made the kids more comfortable, also fine.
Right. If the kids were feeling weird, I get it. But then also he goes on stage and then he does kiss that girl, and we see that whole kiss very brightly lit when the boy and the girl do it. Yeah. And I will just bring up, which it's like, could that be weird? Is like maybe. However, Ugly Betty, like nearly or maybe a full decade ago, the younger brother on that show, Ugly Betty's nephew, very similarly has a crush on a kid that he's in a play with. They're on stage after the play, so they're alone. And then the boy smooches him that he likes and is lovely, and I was so excited for it. And they did like a full-on like Matrix camera, like 360 like smooch. You see the whole thing, and it's nice. It's not gross. They weren't tonguing each other. It was just a nice...
Good old kiss. So shout out to Ugly Betty for doing that too. It's weird Ugly Betty was only on for 4 seasons or something. I think it seems like it made a much bigger mark than that.
Yeah, it was huge for a little bit. But anyway, yes, good on them for that kiss, and good on A Million Little Things. And I'm so glad Danny got a kiss from Elliot. Made me very happy.
Yeah, he got Danny kissed twice today. Regardless, so Danny's really getting it done.
And then immediately, as soon as he has his first kiss, it is like it's almost the cartoonish thing in a movie where someone has sex, like who was a nerd, and suddenly they're like wearing sunglasses and smoking cigarettes and like, what up? I'm cool now.
Yeah. I know how things go now.
I know how things work. I'm a full adult. Because he's on stage and the girl's like, are we really going to do this? And he's like, yeah, I've done it before. It's fine. It's like, holy shit, Danny. Okay.
You're not even the first person I've kissed in this show, okay? Chill out, lady. I got it.
And then he's telling everyone he knows and everyone's excited about it. And then he's giving life advice to Gary he's 35 years old.
Yeah.
Gary sees, we'll get to this. Everyone else, his life is falling apart, whereas Danny is just like friggin' nailing everything.
Yeah. And we should say this is 3 months later. This episode takes place 3 months in the timeline and also 3 months in real timeline since it's been about 3 months since we've done this.
We figured that out. Yeah, we ended the last half with Sophie smashing up all of Eddie's guitars because she found out the big secret. And we start with that. She's smashing them, and then she's getting driven home by Katherine, and then she gets to hear Sophie tell Delilah that you killed Dad, and then Katherine does not react. She looks upset for them, but I know in her head she's like,
yeah,
this is awesome.
Right. I think if you're in the Katherine situation, it would be a little bit nice to see Delilah pay for something.
It would be slightly satisfying.
Yeah, a little bit.
Even if you don't love the situation.
Yeah. And she's, obviously Delilah has paid for, her husband's dead. So stuff has happened.
Right.
But, she gets to deal with sort of mean girl Sophie now.
People have pointed out she can get treated with kid gloves on the show. Like, a lot of the time it's like poor Delilah. And of course, yes, her husband's dead. This sucks. But also everyone lost that guy. Mm-hmm. And she was cheating on him a whole bunch. Yeah. And now, mean girl Sophie is all over her ass about it. And it is sort of satisfying.
Yeah. And Sophie is...
we flash forward and then 3 months later.
Yeah. Sophie's being mean to Delilah and is threatening to not go to the musical.
Yeah, Sophie's a bad girl now. She comes back after curfew and she's saying she's not going to go to the musical on opening night. And Delilah thinks it's because she doesn't want to sit with her. And then Sophie points out later in the episode, like, I see her all the time. No, it's because I don't want to see Eddie, who I haven't seen in 3 months. And it's like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
Delilah, you do make it all about yourself.
Yes.
Don't you?
She does. And, so she's beefing with Eddie, who used to be her bestie.
Yeah.
Too. And then at the end, and we're jumping around a little bit here, but basically Sophie goes to the musical, says a quick hi to Danny. He's happy to see her there, and then she moves in with Rome and Gina temporarily.
Yeah.
So let's do some Rome and Gina storyline.
Rome and Gina.
Basically, they're going through the adoption process a little bit, and that was I think basically where we left off. Last was that Gina had not wanted to have a baby, and now she's like, I'm into it, let's adopt. We'll do it that way.
Let's adopt, and so now they're actually in it, and they're being interviewed by a lady about, looking around their house to make sure they're good parents, and then Gina lets Rome know that she filled out their health forms for him and left off all the depressed stuff.
Yeah, I actually wrote down that you were the happiest man in Boston. So if that's cool, we thought that would be good.
Put a big smiley face on the medical form, so I think we're good. We're totally good.
Yeah, so he's feeling weird about that. About like, do we leave that off? But adoption, from what I understand, is difficult and it's hard. It's hard to get a baby. I have not tried. In fact, I've tried as hard as a person can to not get babies. But it's a difficult thing. So it makes sense that they wouldn't want to add the variable there. And he says, he's not sure about it, whether to include it or not.
He feels weird that she's covering it up because he spent so long covering up his depression. Now he's finally, going to therapy and telling people and trying to get fixed. And now she's hiding it in a way. And he feels weird about it, which makes sense. But she's trying to help him get a baby. And that's their main thing. And
she's trying to win the baby, basically, and
I'm trying to get you a baby.
Yeah, and you get that, and it's sort of because she trusts that he's better. But a couple themes in this episode are kind of how honest to be about your problems, and that is one where that's how Rome and Gina are dealing with it. How honest to be about the depression, and that's something Eddie's dealing with too, because he reveals his alcoholism and his long lost sister's alcoholism to Theo later. So they're all sort of discussing whether or not to reveal reveal these things. And
everyone ends up on team tell the truth by the end.
Yeah, we need some more lying reps. Sometimes it's cool to lie. I think I gotta come down on the side of occasional lying. I'm not saying in these situations. Maybe,
if you like lying, you'll love Eric.
Yeah, Eric.
We'll get to that.
Yes, exactly. But Rome and Gina talk about it, and Rome decides he doesn't want to begin this fatherhood with having to worry about this lie,
right.
That he doesn't have it, and Gina tells him that, she trusts him that he's better, but also she worries that she didn't see it coming before, didn't see how bad it got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she's not sure how long this will last,
right.
as she says. And then Rome says the same thing. But they decide she goes and she fixes the forms, so they're gonna get a depressed baby. They're ready to go.
Or the happiest baby, even everything out. Maybe that's how the world should be. It shouldn't just be happy all the time. It should. You gotta be a little happy, a little sad. Yin yang that shit.
There you go. Happy ass baby. Get him one.
We mentioned Eddie in terms of the honesty thing. So we're hearing about the sister. We don't know who's going to play the sister. Dave drops some in the thoughts. Dave will drop into this episode later. He dropped some casting news.
They mentioned Aunt Lindsay, and I got scared that there was an Aunt Lindsay that I did not remember from 3 months ago. But we don't know her yet.
We don't know her, so it's fine.
She sent baby stuff to the house, which was Eddie took as a sign that she wants to be back in his life and Theo's life and the new bastard kid's life. And
she's drunk all the time. She's in the past.
She's probably very fun. Turns out she's an alcoholic. She enabled Eddie, which is why Katherine is kind of like, maybe we don't hang out with Lindsay because you just recently got all your shit figured out.
Yeah. Also, you're full of problems, as it is. I am raising your mistress's baby with you.
And I'm being extremely cool about it.
Yeah, could not be cooler. Keep taking that baby outside when it's crying. She does that at the play.
She's the first one. Whenever there's a thing with the baby, she's like, I'll take her.
She's gonna steal that baby.
She's gonna make sure that baby likes her more than Delilah.
I get it.
That's
a productive,
the end game.
That's a productive end game because you're treating another human being well, and if that's how you get back at someone, that's a saint-like way to complete revenge, which I support.
As long as she's not whispering just like Delilah smells bad to the baby, subconsciously.
France sucks. French stuff sucks.
French people are liars.
Your mom's a dirty snail eating.
I mean, I would respect that. If we found that out in 3 more seasons, damn. Dang, girl.
Also, Niecy Nash makes a guest appearance.
She's the adoption lady.
And Jeffrey Joseph, who I know from the New York stand-up scene, is the therapist to Rome. Yeah. So that's kind of fun.
That's exciting.
He's a stand-up comic. He's good. He's also an actor, obviously, but he does stand-up around the city.
Right. He didn't just tell jokes about depression at Rome for the whole scene.
Yeah. Eddie and Katherine are talking about that, and obviously the thing is Eddie's also an alcoholic,
and Theo's confused as to why we can't hang out with Aunt Lindsay, and then in a shocking move, Katherine and Eddie decide to tell him the truth.
For the first time?
Which has literally never happened. They have always made up wild stories about why things are happening. If you'll remember, he thought his mom was lawyering a case in the Grand Canyon earlier in the
Known
year.
for its natural beauty and courtrooms. Yeah.
So it is amazing that they decide to explain to him what an alcoholic is, say Aunt Lindsay is one, and then say that Eddie is also one and has the same problem, but he's, over it. He's fine. And then Theo very smartly, goes off, thinks about it for a while. First, he does say he's very proud of his dad for not being drunk currently. And then he's worried that the problem might come back, similar to the Rome and Gina situation. And then Eddie says that because of Theo and Katherine, he can do anything. And then Theo says, well, you can't fly. I was like, Theo, that is one of the best points you've ever made.
Theo's
back on his bullshit in a productive way.
Yes, he is. That is, yeah, you can't say that. It's a good and it's a good way to shoot down. I think, as I phrased it before, the Eddie's sort of welcome mat platitudes that he throws out in every episode, where he says so many things that are with his calming, soothing voice that are just like nice things that your mom would have on an embroidered thing on the wall at her lake house, where it's just like how everything's good.
It's just something that's
where the heart is shit.
Soothing but means nothing.
Yeah, he does a lot of that stuff.
Which ultimately, which is also, it's kind of, it's cheesy, but also it's like, but do you believe what you're saying?
Yeah, also you've proven everything, all this wrong. He should be like, Theo, your father is a pile of chaos, and it's just probably going to be that way.
And I'm doing my best, but you know what, bud? Yeah. Probably we've got another dip or two in the future where Daddy goes nuts.
If you're placing bets, young Theo, and that's probably a problem I'll have in the future as a new addiction I could pick up, I would bet against me to keep it together.
Yes.
Yeah.
But ultimately that works out nice. Theo's on board.
And now, and to the big news. Everyone's excited about this. I'm a wrestling fan. The Royal Rumble just happened, and a great character. It's fun because in the Royal Rumble, sometimes a surprise character from the past will show back up, and everyone gets excited.
Their music hits. Everyone goes nuts. The nerds in the crowd cry. It's awesome.
And the music that hit this time is Gary Fucks.
Gary Fucks again.
Gary who fucks is back once again. He's sexing his way through depression, which I respect. And
yeah. Oh, speaking of liars, Gary is back on his lie game.
He's lying all the time.
Tell chicks like, "Oh, I didn't call you back because my phone was broken." It's like, man, that lady's a teacher. She knows you're lying. She knows when people are lying.
Yeah.
She teaches middle school sociology. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
If she doesn't call you out, it's only because she's like, I think I just want to bang this guy again.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm just going to let that one go.
Yeah.
She knows what's up.
So
he's banging Danny's sociology teacher,
among other people, because he goes into we see him in the doctor's office early in the episode. Just the douchiest doctor around, who's just always walking in. He's like the drama version of Dr. Leo Spaceman from 30 Rock, where it's just like, does this guy even have a degree? He's just wandering around complaining about pens in the middle of serious discussions.
He'll walk into the room and be like, "Your dick's gonna fall off. Sorry, I was on the phone with my mother who's married to my dad, Richard, and he's standing on a ladder, and I was afraid he was gonna..."
Anyway, now about your penis.
Anyway, your penis is fine. Is the level of what was happening.
Absolutely. And
long story short, Gary was worried about his wiener. Turns out it's okay for now.
Yeah, so your wiener's okay for now, and really that's the best many of us can hope for. And he tells him, if you're going to be this sexually active, you got to be careful. And Gary's like, I am. I think about being careful.
Damn, Gary.
It's like, Gary, come on, man.
Gary didn't fuck for like 2 episodes, and he is making up for it.
He's making up for it, and he's very angry. He's angry about the breakup.
He and Sophie are both bad girls now.
Yeah, that's true. It's Bad Girls Club, the two of them. Bad Girls Club for 2.
Bad Girls Club for life.
But Gary's having a rough time as a pedestrian in this episode, where...
Can't stop punching cars, man.
Yeah, punches 2 cars. The first one, no big deal. And yeah, sure, you punch 1 car, that's on the house. No, that's fine.
It's Boston. People are bad drivers. I get it.
And then and people talk to him, throughout the episode about, you got to get it together. You're going to see Maggie again.
Yeah.
And he's angry, understandably so. I mean, after a breakup with someone you still genuinely care about, and he does. But then I guess we should talk about him and Maggie first before the final.
Oh, sure, yeah. So they have to see each other at Danny's play. They apparently have not seen each other for 3 months. So that's weird. And Maggie is...
Rocking a new haircut.
She's not bald. She's grown it into a little pixie situation. And she opens up on sort of an awkward platonic date with Eric.
Yeah.
And she's talking about dating and how hard it is. And then
like you do to people who have your brother's heart inside them. So you
and
think.
the bartender's like, oh my God, you guys should date. It's like, okay, bartender, get out of here.
Yeah.
It's like,
yet again, a theme of this show where
Service
every
industry.
service industry person sucks ass.
every service industry person cannot keep their nose out your business.
Yeah, they'd be butting into the business for sure.
Hi, hello. Here are your drinks, and also I want to remind the audience that it's possible you guys have chemistry sexually. Bye.
Yeah, that must be complicated. Bye.
Like, we got it.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I mean, that's basically it. And then she shows up at the play, and Gary ignores her, and then...
She gets out of the situation, which to me, and that could be partially a guy thing, I think maybe I would trend more the way of Gary here, where it'd be like, I would probably be like, hey, how's it going? You know, like, is everything cool? Good. But I think...
Hello? Yeah.
Blowing by to the cupcake stand, I
Yeah.
think is something we both support.
Yes, this would be, if I'm being honest, that would be my move.
Go
Is
to the
just turning around quickly and running to get a donut to deal with stuff. A cupcake.
Yeah.
Anything. Just eating sweets until it's over.
I think that's totally cool. And then Maggie
Maggie
D-Baggy.
Maggie with the, yes, D-Baggy Maggie with the wiener line of the show is like, yeah, my trip to Peru was great. Thanks for asking. Like, Maggie, come on.
Do you want him to just meaninglessly small talk you? Is that what you... I guess is that what you want here? And I mean, I get that she's like... The comment is meaning to be like, oh, he just blew me off, huh?
It's like, oh, okay, fine. Don't ask about my trip to Peru. First of all, if y'all just broke up and in the 3 months since you did, you went to Peru, he doesn't want to hear about that.
No.
Shit. Like, hi, how was your journey? Did you eat, pray, love? Do you feel better about breaking my heart?
Right.
No. And also, if he was just like, how's Peru? You would probably be like, oh, no, I'm not processing a lot of feelings
Yes.
about our relationship. Thanks for asking.
It was going to be wrong no matter what.
It was, super douchey.
Yeah.
Maggie.
Yeah, that was a D-Baggy moment from Maggie, who we like, typically.
Who we like.
But that's dumb.
That
I
was
can
upsetting.
hardly think... Anyone's trip to Peru, I don't care that much.
No.
I'm sure the photos are great.
My mom went, and I was sort of interested. Mm-hmm. Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. I think that's the cap on most vacation interest for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and they end up having to sort of awkwardly sit next to each other during the musical and whatever. It's, ultimately fine. She does spy Gary standing at the back after intermission with the teacher that he's sweet on
Right.
a little bit, but...
Who Danny caught... Danny catches Gary smooching the teacher, which is like, man, that's super not cool.
Yeah.
Danny's got to see that teacher all the time.
Gary's got to spread it out a little bit.
Gary's got to be cooler when he's actually in the school building with the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then
After all this, Gary is still mad. Do you miss anything before that?
No, Gary's still pissed, so he goes out and he's looking at his app, trying to find someone to bang immediately.
Mm-hmm.
He already ate a cupcake. That wasn't working, so...
Yeah.
Now we got off to the apps, and then a car runs a stop sign, and he punches that car, and then the car stops, and a dude gets out, and it's a big dude, and Gary is pretty jazzed. He's like, ooh, look at this big boy.
Time to fight.
Gary looks like he is ready to have his ass kicked. He is so excited that he might get punched by this large man. The problem is the large man pulls out a gun.
Because he's a bitch. If you pull out a gun in a fight, you're a bitch.
I know. This guy could have...
You're a
It's
wimp.
like you could have just punched Gary like 3 times and left, and that would have been so much more satisfying.
Yeah, I'm very pro. If you really have a real problem, fucking fist fight like a man. That's a thing I tweeted that some people like very much, and some people liked very not a lot. That I think anyone who has 3 or more guns I can beat up, and I generally believe that. Not 100%, I'm sure, but typically, if you're someone who needs more guns than you have hands, I think you're a wimp. So that's my belief.
With
And this
the
guy's a wimp.
exception of Rambo.
Yes, exactly. And if you can hold a gun with a foot, then you're allowed 3 guns. Okay,
Right.
fine.
Monkeys can have 4 guns.
Monkeys can have as many guns as they want as long as they pass a background check. But we'll get into that could be for another time.
So Gary is shook. He
Yeah.
was not expecting that.
As
He was-
Dave, yes.
Oh, yes, as Dave says.
Dave says, not to spoil it, but we have guns now. And
We have guns now.
Right, so that's...
On this friggin' show, so that's a thing that started.
Yeah. It's kind of a rock bottom for him.
It's a rock bottom. He's messed up about it, so I assume this will spark some kind of change, but who knows? We see in the preview that he gets arrested in the next episode.
Yeah.
But it has to do with sticking up for Maggie, so hopefully it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it seems like it's a better use of his anger because we see that Maggie is clearly, she's into this fake brother, and
He's the only one she's talking to.
It's a bummer because it's obviously this guy's an actual con man, but I think we've all had people in our lives who are just like into someone who is more or less a con person. People who just trick themselves into being into someone or on the side of someone where where it's going, and there's just no way to talk them out of it.
No.
And she's obviously this comes from Maggie's grief about her brother, and it comes from her grief about the breakup. So she's in a very sensitive spot with this guy. And they're hanging out all the time, talking.
Hanging out all the time, and they go for... She's so upset after the play, he suggests they go for a run together, which is the old Bachelor trick, where you get your adrenaline up, where you get your endorphins going.
They go on roller coasters
They
and
go
bungees.
on roller coasters and bungees on The Bachelor, and then they immediately want to bone.
Gotta do it.
They're like, I think we are in love. And it's like, I think you went on a roller coaster and you're just feeling very excited right now in general.
All the blood went to your Richard, and you're ready to go.
And you're ready to go.
Yep.
So they do that. They get back to, I guess, to his place, and they start talking about how hard it is to show new people their scars, and that's why it's hard to date. And then he says that he hasn't been with anyone since his dead wife, and those two sexy things obviously make them kiss.
Yeah. Neither one of us, I think, has been a person who's a sad sexy. You know what I mean? Whose sad stuff leads to making the move.
No. No,
I guess there's people like that, but
it happens in TV a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot of like crying and like hugging, and then realizing your faces are close, and then starting to smooch.
Yeah,
so like, nah, if I'm sad, I'm spending time with the aforementioned cupcakes.
Committed to the sad, making out with a cupcake. So basically she makes a move, and then I think the actress does a great job with the embarrassed and run away and all that stuff. She does a really good job with that awkwardness.
They get a few good smooches in, and then she realizes this is maybe not cool, at least very weird, and then leaves very quickly.
Yeah.
And then in a very weird scene,
it's tremendously weird.
Eric, who, has just taken a run, so I guess he's going to go shower, but he's nowhere near the bathroom. He just takes off his shirt and walks up to a mirror and stares at himself. And we find that he has no heart surgery scar, so it's like, oh, whoa, no, what? He's a liar. We didn't see this coming.
We knew that, but he knows.
The way it's shot, it's very weird, because it's almost like they're shooting it like he's finding out
that he doesn't have a scar.
But you know,
you didn't need to take it off.
Yeah, but because there's no scar to look at, he's just looking at himself in the mirror, and he just looks like me when I look in the mirror after I've had some sad cupcakes. I'm like, what am I doing with myself?
Maybe I gotta tighten this up.
Oh, this is not okay. Like, that's like if you took a still, someone would be like, oh, he wants to... He's feeling bad about his body.
Once again, in better shape. Yeah. And he's in fine shape, Mr. Ritter. Yeah, he's fine.
Yes.
Everything's fine.
No, he looks fine. He looks like a normal dude.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
But it's goofy. You know why they do it this way.
Shot goofy,
but like,
and Jamie's directorial suggestion of the night was that he should have closed the door, and then he should have just very normally started getting ready, and maybe there's a camera angle in the bathroom where he's just turning on the shower, he's taking off his shirt, he's not staring at himself, but we see in the mirror that there's no scar.
Yeah.
So we discover it, and he doesn't give a shit because he already has this information.
Yes.
He would just be going about his day.
Yes, it's weird to dramatically just look at his own boobies and to be like, there's no scar on... I'm sad about no scar on those boobies. Oh, I'm in trouble.
I'm in trouble.
So
and also, we all obviously saw that there was a lie coming. So it was also like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, you figured the lie was either going to be it's not the brother's heart that he got some other one, and then targeted the family for some reason. But clearly he had no surgery whatsoever. So next week, and we see that in the preview. If you don't want to hear about it, skip forward 15 seconds. But it was on television, so you probably saw it. But yeah, Gary goes at him for some reason next week. For
some reason.
So that's pretty much the Maggie sitch. Your feelings on banging someone with your sibling's organ?
Oof, pretty weird.
I got to cross that one off. That's a deal breaker for me, homie.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm sure that wasn't there like a movie about that? Was Minnie Driver in it where someone
Christian
had like
Slater?
her dead husband's heart or something?
Maybe.
Which I mean,
don't
I
get
guess
your news here.
I know. Don't IMDb this.
Yeah.
Just pretend what I'm saying is true. I feel like there was one where someone had like a dead husband's heart, which is sexier than a brother's heart. And makes it a little more okay.
Yeah, that's definitely more okay. It's still weird.
I'm going to say it's not illegal.
Yeah, I don't think it's illegal, but it just...
Under certain circumstances, maybe I could grow to be okay with it. But in this case, he's not cool enough and non-creepy liar-y enough for this to be worth it even a little bit, because it is a thing you'd have to get over.
It's also a weird. It's not a weird coincidence they found out. It's what brought them together.
Yes,
so that's
exactly.
I think that's full deal breaker. No, that's the verdict. Let's throw to Dave Miller's thoughts.
Yay.
Dave, what do you think about this episode?
How's it going, everyone? Thanks again for tuning into A Million Little Podcasts. Thanks for subscribing, interacting with us on various forms of social media. This is Dave. Disappointingly, not with Kevin and Jamie tonight. Unlike many of the characters on this show, we actually have to go to work. So sometimes that gets in the way, and work for me got in the way of this week's episode. But when I do this little segment, a lot of times I try to find some Hollywood news regarding the show. And Kevin and Jamie will take care of all the plot lines, et cetera. But I'll get into that in a little bit. But I did want to mention that there is more creative casting going on. This is something I've talked about throughout the podcast, both last year and this year. I think the show has done a great job of casting. It was just revealed that Marcia Gay Harden has been cast as Gary's mother. The Oscar winner is going to play Alice, who... we found out, I think back in season 1, it had to be season 1, that she left after one of Gary's birthdays. I think he turned 7, and then she was out of the picture. She just left the home. But she took off, and she's going to appear in episode 12, which will take place on Thursday, February 6th. So not this coming Thursday, but February 6th, we'll actually get... Marcia Gay Harden as Gary's mom. Of course, she's been in The Newsroom, Trophy Wife, Royal Pains, Law and Order, all those. She will be on A Million Little Things. And once again, like I mentioned, I just think this show has done a great job with creative casting. So we'll get another big name into the mix. In terms of this week's episode, like I say, Kevin and Jamie will take care of all the plot stuff. But I did want to mention a few things. I love the recap trailer at the beginning. It really sets the mood. I just love trailers in general. I just like at the beginning of each episode, they kind of give a recap. This one was narrated by Delilah. Makes a lot of sense because of all the drama with, revealing to the kids about the affair, etc. The recap trailer at the beginning really did a good job of setting the mood. I wrote down in my notes, it's a good thing they picked up right where they left off, and they did. So, the first scene, they picked up right where they left off, kind of after Sophie smashed the guitars of Eddie. But then, after the little song plays, it says 3 months later. So we flash forward 3 months. So now it's 3 months later. I think that was done, to underscore all the problems Delilah would have with Sophie. So all the action except for that first scene takes place 3 months later. So we're 3 months down the road. I think that probably makes the most sense. And then it also underscores how Gary hasn't seen Maggie. And so I just think that was the right move. My guy Gary, next week, we see Gary getting arrested, but I wrote down a bunch of things involving Gary, but to keep it short, I wrote down in capital letters, now we have guns. So now we have guns on the show. Gary gets a gun pulled out on him after his anger issues get the best of him. Hopefully that little incident scared some sense into him because he's been acting kind of reckless. Kind of the old school Gary, the one that I really liked early on in season 1. Obviously, though, I think a lot of people hope that Gary and Maggie get back together. We see Maggie, though, at the end of the episode making a move on Eric. We still have Eric hiding the fact that it doesn't appear that he has Maggie's brother's heart. And it looks like that'll come to fruition next week. It seems that Gary gets arrested for maybe beating up Eric. I mean, it could have been just creative the way they put the scenes together, but it appears Gary gets arrested next week. He has a little altercation with Eric, so we'll get to the bottom of that. We have we have Sophie moving in with Rome and Gina. A lot of things happen. We have Aunt Lindsay, Eddie's sister, who, has a drinking problem. It seems like Eddie's ready to bring her back into the fold. So a lot of things happen in this episode. I hope to be with you guys this week on the next podcast. But Jamie and Kevin will do a fantastic job of recapping the winter premiere episode that just aired. But yeah, I was digging some old school Gary. Of course, I am a hopeless romantic. I want Gary and Maggie to get back together. We'll see what happens, but. Maggie made a move on Eric, so we'll see how things turn out. Oh, also, final thing, I do have in my notes, Gary hitting on hot teacher who he slept with. Gary is my guy. Just getting after it. I love it. All right, enjoyed the show. Thanks a lot for listening, and hope to talk to you guys next week. Thanks.
Dave, I agree with you. Top to bottom. Marcia Gay Harden, that's exciting. A little bit of casting news. She's coming in.
Good.
Yeah, big time.
She on SVU, she played a cop that went undercover with racist groups. And she did really good. At first, you don't know. You just think she's a mean racist, and she does a really good job.
You're a great mean racist.
You're a great mean racist. That is a compliment.
Any parting thoughts, Jamie?
No, I'm looking over my notes to see if I forgot anything super fun from the last time that we were talking, but no, that's it. Just yay, Danny. Let's keep up the Danny.
Keep up the Danny.
Let's not dip on the Danny just because the play's over. Maybe the play just keeps going. That was only opening night. Maybe they have to go to the play 8 more times over the course of the day.
We have to see. That's just the rest of the season.
I don't know how long the run is.
Paid the rights for Grease music, gotta use it. Your Danny brand, and maybe our brand of Danny fan, Danny Stan. People were tweeting at us. Someone tweeted, "I'm gonna need you guys to give me your thoughts on Danny." Right, meow. So that was a cute tweet.
That is a very cute tweet. I'm sorry we took so long.
I know,
but thank you for recognizing that we are the number one Danny Stans.
And if you want to tweet at us, hit us up at A Million Podcast, and we're on Instagram at A Million Little Podcast. And thanks for listening, and we will get the next episode out much more quickly and with no technical problems whatsoever. Thank you, everybody.
A Million Little Bye.